Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. It's Monday. Stock market's back open. What's going on? Well, we're continuing to grind higher. The Dow's up about 50 points. NASDAQ up about 60 points. We're grinding higher. Now, it's interesting. I do have an SPY put on, and those are not doing well. What is doing well are the miners, the gold and silver mining stocks. I have that trade on also. Going higher, going higher. Those have been on a nice run. Now, if they get a pullback, I'll be adding to it. I do think the gold miners have a lot more room to run, but they might get a pullback this week. I'm actually hoping for a pullback so I can add to that position. Now, the SPY puts I have on, well, I'm so far underwater on those. Sometimes that happens. Now, it's funny when I talk to the younger generation, let's call them millennials. Anyways, they always tell me how the stock market only goes up. It only goes up, Mike. Now, if I was let's say I'm a 32-year-old person, I started trading at age 20. Well, I've only seen the stock market go up, right? For the last 13 years, we've gone straight up. Now, normally we get a bear market about every 5 years, but this market for the last 13 years, we have not had a bear market. We just continue to move higher to higher to higher, newer highs. Now, what happened? Now, why is this? Well, I say it's inflation. I say we're inflating the market higher. Look, I think the economy broke in 2008. The economy broke. Now, we just said that we weren't going to let companies fail. Back then, we should have let AIG go under, which would have caused a big hit to Goldman Sachs, but nobody wants to feel pain. So this was the start of the QE money. The QE money was the start where we really ramped up the printing of money. We printed more and more money. And it's continuing today. The pandemic we're in is exacerbating the problem. We're just printing the money and inflating the market higher. And now the millennials, they'll tell you this is going to go on forever. Now, as an old guy, I'll tell you they're wrong. It is not going to go on forever. I joke about it. I say the market only goes up. We only go up. And we probably will continue to go up because we're going to continue to print money. Now, you can't have an upward crash where the stock market goes up, but your purchasing power is going down. They can destroy the stock. They could destroy the stock market, but what they're doing instead is destroying the dollar. They want to keep inflating the market higher. Nobody wants to feel the pain, but what's moved this market higher? Well, it's all the free money, the Fed prints the money. They send it out in unemployment checks. They send it out in PPP money. They send it out in, stimulus checks. And they're going to do more of that. They want trying to get this $3.5 trillion passed through Congress so they can give out more money, send more money out to the big businesses this time, to the corporations. Corporations need money if they want to continue to buy their own stocks and make the market go higher. Look at Janet Yellen. Now, she will tell you that the Federal Reserve has not lost control of inflation. Well, I think they have. I think they have lost control of inflation. Now, we had Jack Dorsey, the billionaire, come out and say, get ready for hyperinflation. Hyperinflation's coming. And he may be right. He may be right. If we continue on this path, yes, I guarantee hyperinflation will show up. But this all started back in 2008 with the QE money. The QE money has just flown into the stock market, and the pandemic money flows into the stock market. And so if I was a millennial, yes, I would think the market can only go higher. That's what I would think. And so far, they are correct. In the last 13 years, the market has only gone higher. Now, when it does come down, when the big collapse happens, and it will be in like biblical terms when the collapse happens, because we've exacerbated the problem so long. We try to sweep the problem under the carpet, and the problem keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, I want to talk about inflation right now because, I think that's the main problem we're seeing right now in the United States. Well, actually around the world, there's a lot of inflation. Right now, oil above $85, right? And this is inflationary. When I go to the gas pump here in California, it's over $5. $5 a gallon. That's a lot for us. It's a lot for anybody. But when it gets over $10, I think people are really going to start to notice that, hey, maybe this inflation is a problem. It is a problem. Now, what is inflation? Well, inflation is basically, some people would say it's a tax. It's an invisible tax. Other people would say it's theft. It's theft. Every time they print money, it makes me and you poorer. Now, the government, in taxes, they take in about $3 trillion, but they're spending between $6 and $8 trillion a year right now. Now, when you spend twice as much as you bring in, you're going to have a problem. The money has to come from somewhere. So they print the money, and that's how it gets spent. But every time this happens, me and you get poorer. You see, it's a tax on us. It's a tax when we go to the grocery store. It's a tax when we go to the gas station. It's a tax when we pay our rent. Look, inflation is a tax. It's theft, okay? Now, look, I want to go on record here. I love my country, but right now, I think our government's a little bit embarrassing. I don't know if anyone agrees with that or not. Maybe everybody's proud of what we're presenting to the world, but I really think we're an embarrassment. And I really think that we have this criminal organization that is the biggest criminal organization in the history of the world. It's called the Federal Reserve. Look, they're a crime organization. There's no other way to look at it. They're robbing me and you. And I'm not talking about the insider trading where they pocket an extra $5 or $10 million. No, that's criminal also. But the real crime is when they're just stealing our money by printing this infinite money to keep these markets propped up. Now, when they keep the market propped up, the stock market, the housing market, who does it benefit the most? Well, it benefits the few, the billionaires, the Jeff Bezos. I think he had 30, 40, $50 billion in just during the pandemic. Warren Buffett added to $20, $30 billion. You see, these wealthy people, they own the majority of the stock market. They own 80 to 90% of the stock market. And when it goes higher, they just keep getting more and more billions of dollars. Okay, now about 40 or 50% of the U.S., they own zero stocks. So there's no benefit for them when the market goes higher. But they're the working class. They're the ones that go out and work every day and they live paycheck to paycheck. They don't have money to participate in this asset appreciation. So when the Federal Reserve prints this money to make the assets go up, they do not benefit, but yet they are the ones responsible for paying it. Now, when Biden was elected, he was elected basically because he said no one that makes less than $400,000, their taxes won't be raised. Well, they're raising them through this invisible tax, this inflation tax, this theft. It's taxation with no representation. It's terrible. And, at some point, I hope America wakes up. I hope that we get rid of the Fed. Right now, they're pretty unstoppable. They're going to cause a lot of misery in the United States, and the misery is going to spread around the world. There's misery coming. I don't mean to be a gloom and doom channel. I'm just telling you what I see. Now, what I see is that hyperinflation, it's going to come. It's definitely on its way here, and it's going to wipe out the dollar as we know it. Yes, the dollar is going to go away. Right now, the dollar buys less and less and less. It's almost wiped out already, but it still has, 2-3% less than it left in it than it did back in the 70s. They wiped out like 95% of the dollar has been wiped out already. And they want to get that last 4 or 5%, wipe that out so they can bring a new dollar in. Now, what is the new dollar going to be? Well, it's going to be the digital currency. And this digital currency, maybe you trade, $100 in and you get $1 of the digital currency. I don't know the exact ratio. Maybe you only have to trade $10 in to get $1 of the new money. But it's going to kind of be a reset of the money. This money we got now is going away. Why? Because they're going to hyperinflate. And no country survives hyperinflation. It is a financial breakdown in the system. It is a financial collapse. And the current currency, hard to say, but anyways, the current currency goes away. away and the new currency is born. And you just exchange it. Like I say, maybe it's 100 to 1, maybe it's 10 to 1, maybe it's 1,000 to 1 like Zimbabwe. They just keep chopping zeros off. It's crazy. When hyperinflation comes, it's not pretty. It causes pain. It causes misery. Look, the answer is to get rid of the Federal Reserve, the number one crime organization in the world. They steal so much from me and you, but yet they have, that's not enough for them. They have to front run their trades, do insider trading, pocket another $5, $10, $20 million each. These are multi-millionaires. I'm talking about these Fed presidents, 10 million, 20 million, some have 100 million. It's just money in their pocket, and they're laughing all the way to the bank. Why would, the average person starts to suffer. They can't pay their rent. They can't pay their food. We got to put a stop to this somehow. Now, okay, back to the stock market. Maybe we're not going to get a collapse by Friday. Maybe my SPY puts expire worthless. But look, for those people that think the market only goes up, last 13 years, you've been correct. But when the collapse comes, it will be the mother of all collapses. And I guarantee you, we will see a bear market again. Now, this modern monetary theory, Mike, it's different this time. We've got it figured out. We can make this market go up forever. Well, you can. Zimbabwe's market's up, Venezuela's market's up, but your living standard, it just plummets when the dollar's destroyed. Look, my opinion is the Federal Reserve has to go. We have to get rid of them. That's just my opinion. We got to get back to sound money. Attach the money to something that has value. Okay, something like gold and silver. That's right, gold and silver. Go back on a gold standard. Doesn't have to be 100%. Maybe it's a 10% gold standard. Maybe it's a 50% gold standard. But when you have a standard, then you take away the power of the government. The government can't just go out and print the money forever then. They can't just go to war because they don't have money to pay for the war if they have sound money. Now, the way they do it now, they can print all the money they got and they can pay for the war. And that's probably why we're going to end up in a war when things get really bad. When you go to the misery, what does the government have? They have no choice. They want to take your mind off the misery and go to war and blame something else. We'll see what happens. I know I'm on a rant today. Hopefully you enjoyed it a little bit. I'm Tall Mike. If you like this stuff, give me the thumbs up. If you really like it, hit that subscribe button and we get to talk later in the week. I love talking with you guys. It's my favorite part of the day. Everybody get out there. Have a great Monday. Bye-bye now.